Saturday, March 24th, 1984, Shermer High School, Shermer, Illinois, 60062. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. What we did was wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. What do you care? You see us as you want to see us. In the simplest terms, in the most convenient definitions. You see us as a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Correct? That's the way we saw each other at 7 o'clock this morning. We were brainwashed. I think there are very few people in the audience today who don't recognize that narration from the classic 80s movie, The Breakfast Club. Those 5 stereotypical high school students served their famous Saturday detention more than 31 years ago, in a world before cell phones, laptops, and Facebook. It seems cliche to say it, and yet the world was indeed a very different place back then, when our very own parents walked the halls of a school much like Ramapo in their own awkward high school years. Yet, though I never would have believed it as a freshman, high school is still the same as it always has been. Now, I'm proud to say that I don't believe our school holds the same prejudice or cliques that other schools might. Ramapo is a very welcoming and supportive community for everyone. And as I walk through the halls, those of you who know me have seen me around, you'll notice that I give high fives. I don't just high five other engineering students or fencing team members, but football players, drama club members, and students in other grades as well. I've never felt unwelcome here at Ramapo, but freshman year was a different story. I'm sure most of you remember the first day of high school. That mixture of excitement, nervousness, and of course, just a dash of terror. Also, like the breakfast club at 7 o'clock that morning, we only saw what lay on the surface. High school was a new and scary place, and it was easy to cling to old friends and familiar ideas. It was easy for me, for example, to hang out with my engineering friends and my middle school friends, and not branch out and meet others. Deep down, though, we're all far more alike than was obvious that first day. We all were once scared little freshmen. We all have our skills and talents, things we're good at, like sports, music, science, engineering, and language. Whether it was suffering through Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, or studying for our biology finals, or dealing with laptops and quarterlies, as a class, we started to realize that we weren't so different after all. Diversity is important, but community is critical. Branching out isn't always easy. During the summer of 2013, I had the privilege of leading a Boy Scout troop in the National Boy Scout Jamboree, where 60,000 scouts were in attendance. Having handled 2 years of high school already, I figured I could take on whatever West Virginia had to throw at me, which ended up being a lot of rain. One morning, I decided to try an experiment. I would wish a good morning to every person we passed on the trail. As we left camp, this was a fairly simple task. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. But as we headed out toward the middle of the complex, I began to shout to groups of scouts off in the woods, ice cream vendors, and medical patrols. It was pretty awkward at first, but then something unexpected began to happen. People began to talk to us. Through that morning, I met a scoutmaster from Britain, heard a joke from a Virginian native working the ice cream stand, had a conversation with a woman carting around an inflatable alligator on her back. She told me she wrestled it out of the swamp, and even scored some free beach passes. If I had to pick one reason why I'm not afraid to break the ice, it's that morning. It proved to me that a little love can go a long way, even if my friends had had it with my boisterous good mornings after just a few minutes. Here at school, I've done my fair share of crazy things, from rolling up my jeans to show my awesome socks, to yelling, "Hey!" every time my friend Jerry passes by in the hallway. I gained a bit of a reputation for being courageous and a bit impulsive. And if you've seen me at a robotics competition or a pep rally, you know that I can go a little overboard with my school spirit, while inventing catchy new dance moves too, which go a little something like this. But those stories are the ones that make us who we are. Sure, I learned in class that an acid donates a hydrogen, and the acceleration of gravity on Earth is about 9.8 meters per second squared. I learned that the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, and I learned how to take integrals and derivatives and write a check. But the real lessons we learned in those halls were not about the world, but about ourselves. I learned I love rocking tall, crazy socks, which those of you who didn't take me seriously, I have my pencil socks on right now. I learned that I like to sing at the top of my lungs, and I love playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I learned that I'm not as bad at gym handball as I expected, but I'm worse at softball than I believed. Most importantly, I learned to be myself. They say that children are like a white piece of paper, and that each person you meet leaves a mark on that paper. Together, we have made marks on each other, very colorful marks. None of us will ever be the same, and each of us has become an awesome work of art. Never let anyone tell you how to be. Fly your colors proudly. As we all go off to live our various lives, whether in other states or other countries, as we get jobs, attend college, and move on, we must keep these things in mind. Remember where you came from. Never be afraid to try or think something new. And most importantly, don't let expectations hold you down. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. You see us as you want to see us, in the simplest terms, in the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain, and an athlete, and a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, the class of 2015.